after her husband was discharged from the hospital. He said that he didn't want any more regrets in life and wanted to be with the one he truly loved. He proposed divorce to me. I signed the papers without hesitation and took away more than half of the savings. He was stunned and lost. In my previous life, he also proposed divorce to me at this time. Only then did I realize that my husband, whom I had worshipped all my life, had actually been hiding someone else in his heart. I cried and made a scene, making his affair with his white moonlight known to everyone like a shrew. My son was ashamed of me, and my daughter thought I was being unreasonable. In the end, on the day when I died of illness in a run-down rental house, his white moonlight and my husband became lovers and got married. When I opened my eyes again, I found that I had been reborn. I was overjoyed. In this new life, I just wanted to leave this heartless family. A week ago, Oliver suddenly fainted in the study. I was so worried that it felt like the sky was falling. Not caring about the instep of my foot that had just been scalded by boiling water, I hurriedly called an ambulance and sent him to the hospital. Fortunately, there was no major problem. It was just that he had sat at his desk for too long. He just needed to rest well next. However, because my foot was not treated in time and I was running around in the hospital, the blisters on my instep had been ground until they were a bloody mess. The doctor didn't say it explicitly, but the implied meaning was that my condition was actually more serious than Oliver's. I should pay more attention to it. I limped back to the ward. I was about to say that our son and daughter were too busy with work, and we should find a temporary caregiver. Before I could speak, a bolt from the blue. Luna, let's get a divorce. Oliver looked as if he had already made up his mind. With a solemn face. My mind went blank. I thought I had misheard. What did you say? I said, let's get a divorce. He repeated it again, with a more firm and fearless tone. You are XX years old this year, and I am 60 years old. And then, you want to divorce me? I found it very unbelievable. In the 40 years of marriage, in the first 10 years, it was my meager salary that supported the family. When I was pregnant, I had the nerve to go back to my parents' house to ask for help. Even though I was malnourished, I would rack my brains to supplement his nutrition. I just felt that he was a college student and it was a pity for him to marry a woman like me, who didn't even graduate from junior high school. And he had always believed that he could become a great writer. He sat in front of his desk every day, immersed in the world of his novels. I thought I should support his dream and naturally take on all the housework, including the children's daily needs and also taking care of all the daily needs of his parents, who were partially paralyzed. In those years, I aged rapidly, like a withered flower. He often held me in his arms late at night and cried softly, saying that he was sorry for me and hadn't been able to give me a good life. Later, he finally became famous. I didn't have to work hard everywhere to subsidize the family expenses anymore. But by then, I was more than 10 years older than my peers. Standing in front of him, I was like a maid. I fainted from anger. When I woke up, both my son and daughter were in the ward. I looked at the ceiling with lingering fear. In my previous life, I died of cancer, in excruciating pain. Before I died, I desperately called my 2 children, but they had already blocked me. At this time, they were sitting around Oliver, asking him if he was feeling better. I was lying on the escort chair in the ward, ignored by everyone. When they saw me wake up, my son frowned and looked over, impatiently saying, "Mom, you are so old. Can't you save us some worry? I've told you many times to take your blood pressure medicine on time." That's right. Why can't you remember? It's so annoying. You never think about us at all. My daughter also lowered her head and complained. From beginning to end, they didn't ask me if I was feeling better. Looking at the children I had raised with my own hands, my heart was extremely cold. When they were young and Oliver was still supported by me, they were so obedient to me. They often put their arms around my neck and said that they would definitely be good to me in the future, and wouldn't let me work so hard to earn money. When the doctor came in to change the dressing, the three of them finally noticed my bloody foot. Even the shoes on my feet were different. "Auntie, you must pay attention to this place. Don't let it get wet or be rubbed by walking. Change the dressing every 3 days. Look, the wound is constantly oozing. It's very easy to get infected." The young doctor chattered on. He also glanced at my son and daughter with dissatisfaction, clearly disliking that they had left me sleeping on the escort chair. I couldn't sit up straight or lie down comfortably. I thanked him repeatedly. The doctor left the ward after giving several more instructions. Looking at him walk out of the ward, my son started to complain again. "Mom, are you doing this on purpose? You didn't say anything even when you were injured. You make others think that we children are so useless." "That's right. Mom, can you stop doing these things that you think are very touching?" My daughter spoke with saliva flying everywhere. Full of disgust, I stared at them fixedly. This scene was exactly the same as in my previous life. Recalling my previous life, when I learned that Oliver was about to divorce me, not only did they not help persuade him, but they also advised me to help SB achieve their father. They said that their father had been capricious only this once in his life. But I had been capricious all my life. As a return for his raising me for decades, they advised me not to cling to this marriage that had long lost love. I laughed out loud. I was really talented to have raised such two ungrateful wolves. 3. I dialed the number on the small card. In less than 10 minutes, the caregiver I had made an appointment arrived at the ward pushing a wheelchair to pick me up. "Luna, think about what I said. When your foot is better, we can sit down and talk." Oliver saw that I was leaving and hurriedly spoke, with a desperate and impatient look. "There's no need to think about it. We can go through the divorce procedures as soon as you are discharged from the hospital." I looked at him coldly and turned my head. "Do you think that only you find this marriage difficult? Mom, at this time, can't you stop saying angry words?" "That's right. Mom, what are you dissatisfied with? Obviously, you have always been supported by my dad." My son and daughter sneered and taunted again. I didn't say a word. Instead, I opened my phone and sent a message to the real estate consultant. "Sorry. I don't want the 2 houses I was interested in a few days ago. Oliver has always been opposed. However, I argued strongly and wanted to take advantage of the low housing prices this year to buy those 2 dream flat floor apartments for our 2 children. I think it's not easy for young people to struggle nowadays. Since parents have this ability, I want to make them live more comfortably as much as possible. Oliver has quarreled with me countless times because of this matter. In the end, I threatened with death before getting the passbook from his hand. Only after living again do I know that the reason why Oliver didn't agree to buy a house is also because of his unrequited love. Looking at the faces of my son and daughter that deserve a spanking, I hope they won't regret today's decision and won't regret having a father who supports them unconditionally like this. For after coming out of the hospital, I asked the nurse to take me to the bank first. I transferred all the more than 20 million on the passbook to my personal account. With the card in my bosom, I feel extremely at ease. In my last life, I was angry and didn't want a penny from Oliver. I wanted to see him regret and change his mind. But facts have proved that this idea of mine is exactly the same as that of an idiot. This time, I won't be stupid anymore. And I won't let those 3 father and sons take advantage for nothing. This 20 million is only temporary. Oliver has been popular, until now. He has numerous works and countless fans. Just by selling copyrights every year is an astronomical price. In the past, I didn't care or worry about how much money he had. But now, I can't wait to strip him naked and throw him out. Not even leaving him his underpants. After I returned home with the nurse, I called and made an appointment for a moving company to come. While waiting, I gave the nurse more money to help me with my things. All the items related to Oliver and me were put into garbage bags by me and prepared to be thrown away. The family portrait is also thrown away. All the things that make me unhappy when I see them must be thrown away. Passing by the door of the study, I went in as if by a ghostly influence. The bookshelves are clean and tidy. And the potted plants are fresh and refined. I have cleaned this place for decades as always. No matter how messy Oliver makes it here, I have the ability to restore it quickly. He once said gratefully. Luna, what would I do without you? However, for that drawer in front of the desk. For decades. From beginning to end. I have never opened it. I have also seen Oliver several times hastily wiping away tears and locking the drawer. I asked. He said that there were his parents' clothes hidden inside. Just reminiscing by looking at things. I have never doubted his words. I even felt sorry for this man who is so sentimental. I always felt that he would trap himself like this. But today, I didn't hesitate to smash the lock open with a hammer. What came into view was a laminated photo. Looking at the person in the photo. Over 50 years old but still charming. Wearing a cheongsam on curly hair. She also exudes tenderness and dignity. I gave a self-mocking smile. I should have thought it was her. Eva. 5 back then. Only 2 of them became college students in the town. They came from the same place, and were in the same university. It was no secret that they were together. But later, Eva fell in love with a rich man's son. The other party promised to take her abroad to study together. In that era, going abroad and studying abroad were things that ordinary families couldn't even imagine. Oliver was undoubtedly abandoned. Later, his parents had an accident in the mine. One couldn't move his upper body, and the other had no feeling in both lower limbs. Matchmakers proposed marriage everywhere. Everyone knew what it meant to marry into this family. Even the girls who were interested in Oliver before lost their thoughts at this moment when they saw this family like a pit of fire. But I wasn't afraid. I always felt that it was an opportunity given to me by heaven. If not for this, how could a man as outstanding as a god fall into my hands? When Oliver saw me for the first time, he was also surprised. At the same time, there was a glimmer of joy in his eyes. He also asked me that with my appearance, I could find someone better than him. Why did I choose him? At that time, I was shy and didn't dare to show my long-hidden love. I only said that it was probably fate. After marriage, we also had a period of harmonious days. The way he looked at me had tiny specks of starlight. I thought he had forgotten her long ago. Under the photo were neat and clean diaries. Thick. Several volumes. I flipped through it for a while, and then closed it. What else could it be? Inside were all his numerous thoughts. All his regrets and reminiscences about unrequited love in his youth. But what surprised me was that he had been writing these memories for decades. Even on the night of our marriage. He was writing this diary. Saying that I was very beautiful and innocent. But his mind was full of Eva. His delicate girl. My fists tightened. Even though my nails sank into my palm, I couldn't feel a trace of pain. The humiliation that swept over my whole body made me want to beat this man to death. I endured the disgust and flipped through. There was also a thick stack of letters inside. The beginning of their reunion story started with Eva's first letter. I didn't open it to read the content inside. Because I think it doesn't matter anymore. The stories of mistresses and scumbags are all similar. They are all equally embarrassing. No matter how many gorgeous goats are put on it. This relationship is also rotten and ugly. 6. I took all the things in the drawer and packed them up and took them away. My intuition tells me that having these things in my own hands is equivalent to grasping Oliver's lifeline. On the 3rd day after moving to the house in the city center, Oliver called. His voice was tinged with grievance and anxiety. Luna, did you touch the things in my drawer? What things? Your parents' relics? I asked knowingly with schadenfreude. There was silence on the other end of the phone for a long time. Can you return it to me? Sorry. I don't know what you're talking about. Saying that, I hung up the phone. He called again. And I hung up directly. The soup stewed by the newly found nanny is really delicious. I close my eyes in satisfaction and sigh. Why didn't I know how to enjoy myself before? Before evening, Oliver came to the door. He came in hesitantly. How is your foot? Is it better? He seemed a little restrained. Did you bring the divorce agreement? Impatiently. I took out a pen and was ready to sign. Luna. There's no hurry. Oliver explained in a fluster. I came mainly to see you. Not to urge you. Since you're out of the hospital, let's get divorced tomorrow. There's still a 30-day, cooling off period to wait. I put away my pen and took a big gulp of water irritably. Luna. Won't you really think it over again? I looked up at the man, full of confusion, and a little speechless. Didn't you file for divorce first? Yes. It's me. It's me. Watching him lower his head in disappointment, I made a sound of contempt. Perhaps he was disappointed because I didn't cry and beg him not to divorce. What a hypocrite. You can put forward any demands. This house belongs to me. 80% of your savings also belong to me. This is what I've thought about for a long time. This house is in a prime location in the city center. It's lively and I like it. Perhaps because he had never seen me so arrogant and strong. Oliver looked at me in a daze, full of surprise. There's no problem with the house. As for 80% of the savings, isn't it a bit too much? After he reacted, his expression showed a trace of displeasure. He has always been like this. No matter what happens, he always has this calm look. If you think it's inappropriate, we cannot divorce. I stood up directly. But from now on, I won't serve you like an old nanny anymore. We'll live separately. I was sure that he would definitely divorce. Sure enough, the man immediately became a little panicked. I'll go back and think about it. I directly opened the door and showed him out. Oliver looked at me for a long time, sighed softly. Luna, let's part amicably. Okay? Sure. A%. I didn't even look at him. The man was speechless and sighed again and walked out. I slammed the door hard. I scrolled through my phone and made an appointment for an in-home massage. 7. I never expected that my son would bring Ava to my door in person. The old mistress walked in wearing a white dress. Her makeup was exquisite. And the perfume on her body made me sneeze loudly. It's not that I'm jealous and mean. At her age, such a plain dress is really inappropriate. The key is that there is a white pearl hair clip on her head. I said unhappily. I'm not dead yet. Even if I die, it's not your turn to attend my funeral. Ava gave a faint smile. A silent provocation. Actually, I shouldn't have come. But I really didn't mean to interfere in the matter between you and Oliver. I always feel that it shouldn't have come to this point. As she said this, her eyes turned red. There was a pitiful look. But wait. What did she say? Oliver? Sorry to interrupt. Who is your Oliver? Seeing my confusion, she coughed awkwardly. Oliver. Your husband. Oh, so you know he's my husband. You call him so affectionately. I thought he was your husband. I leaned back and grabbed a handful of melon seeds and started cracking them. Ava's eyes were filled with tears and she looked at my son for help. This jerk immediately glared at me. Mom. I'm not criticizing you. What's the point of this? Aunt Eva came here today sincerely to apologize to you. If you don't accept it, forget it. Why be so sarcastic? Sister Luna. I really didn't expect Oliver to divorce you for me. I'm going to cry to death. Looking at her tears streaming down, I just felt very impressed. So, what on earth did you come for? I twirled the big ring on my finger and felt a little bored. But I didn't miss Ava's envious gaze. I came first to apologize. And second to persuade you not to divorce because of me. In that case, I forgive you. It's no big deal. Go tell Oliver not to divorce me. Tell him you have no feelings for him. You were just playing with him. I smiled extremely sincerely. The woman opposite said, obviously unable to keep up with my train of thought. To be honest, at this moment I feel a little proud. Having seen it with my own eyes. It's just so. I just think Oliver is a little blind. Sister Luna. I've told Oliver many times. But he just insists on giving me a status. What can I do? He has wasted half his life in a loveless marriage. Looking at his pain, I really can't say the words of rejection. Oh? So, you didn't come to persuade us not to divorce, right? I took a deep look at my son. But he didn't look at me and looked at the old mistress sympathetically. I'm really speechless. She said, "We have missed each other for decades. There are not many days left for us. In the rest of our lives. I really want to be with Oliver openly. There are indeed not many days left for you. It's true that old people die quickly from excessive indulgence. Also, don't call me sister. I'm several years younger than you. Having eaten too many salty melon seeds." I took another big gulp of water. My son looked at me with disgust. "Mom, how can you talk so vulgarly? Look at you and then look at Intava. Any man knows what to choose." Ava looked at me with teary eyes. Another provocation. But I don't care anymore. I really want to get divorced quickly now. Oliver came to the door 3 hours after Ava left, bringing the divorce agreement. Full of anger. His eyes looking at me were full of patience. "Except for this house. I only agreed to give you 60% of my savings. Otherwise, I don't mind dragging this out in court," Oliver said coldly. I raised my eyebrows and sighed without hesitation. Actually, this was about my psychological expectation. Originally, I wanted him to leave the house with nothing, but I realized it might be a bit difficult. Moreover, I am someone who hates trouble. Not to mention, the domestic 10-day tour I signed up for is about to start soon. I don't want to be hindered by messy affairs from enjoying the great rivers and mountains of my motherland. When Oliver saw me being so decisive and neat, he heaved a sigh of relief but also seemed a bit angry. "Luna, is there really nothing else you want to say to me?" "Yes." "What?" The man's expression relaxed, full of hope and curiosity. "Before your mother died, she said that if you dare not be good to me in the future, you will be struck by lightning and die a horrible death." I uttered these words in a somber tone. Oliver's face changed drastically. He rushed out of the door, slamming it so hard that it made a deafening noise. His panicked escape greatly pleased me. He should feel guilty. When his parents were alive, many people thought I was their biological daughter, while he seemed like a son-in-law. 9 When I was taking ancient costume, tourist photos in Luoring, I received a call from my son. "Mom, are you crazy? Why did you take so much property by yourself? Are you going to take it to your grave and spend it there?" He was very agitated. "Sick. Needs treatment." I hung up the phone directly. In a short while, my daughter also started a series of frantic calls. A photographer helplessly paused and motioned for me to answer the phone first. "Mom, you promised to buy houses for my brother and me before. You can't go back on your word." "Well, about this matter, it's not a bad idea for you to find your dad. After all, I'm just the delivery person. You and him are the real family." I sneered. My daughter instantly exploded with anger on the other end of the phone. "You are really crazy. Mom, if you take so much money and don't spend it on my brother and me, are you going to spend it on some newly acquainted old man? If you dare to have a twilight romance, I won't let you off." I directly cut off the call, blacklisted her, and turned off my phone. These 3 people in Oliver's family are the biggest failures of my life. Perhaps to make me angry. The next day I received Oliver and Ava's wedding photos on my phone. They imitated young people and made all kinds of funny expressions. They took pictures in Chinese-styled ragan and phoenix gowns and Western-style wedding dresses. I was tasting the Luoring water banquet. I directly replied best wishes. Lock it down. Then I continued to blacklist them. In fact, I am quite grateful to them for treating me like this. Otherwise, I couldn't get out of this so quickly. When my phone was being bombarded by calls from relatives and friends, I only then realized that the news of Oliver's remarriage was already known to everyone. We are all from the same place. Oliver is also a local celebrity, remarrying in his old age. sending out invitations widely and holding a grand ceremony. It has become a topic of conversation after meals in my hometown for a while. The most talked about thing is still that Ava is more elegant, more foreign and refined than me. She is refined in speech. Sure enough, she and Oliver are a perfect match. Yes. Remarrying at this age is not remarrying after being widowed. After all, one can't find someone worse than the original spouse. Luna. Let me tell you. Only you are so magnanimous and easily let them go. If it were me, I would definitely tear them to pieces. Others may not know Ava's background. But can I not know? When she was young, relying on her good looks, she flirted around. Elder sister Scarlett. I am traveling and luring. I bought you some local specialties. Remember to check and receive the express delivery these days. I interrupted her, really not wanting to listen to gossip anymore. That's so embarrassing. Thank you, Luna. No matter what others say, I will definitely stand by your side. Seeing that elder sister Scarlett was about to start talking again, I found an excuse and ended the call in a hurry. In the family group, Alva was added by my son. She immediately sent a message. Hello, relatives and friends. I am Ava, Oliver's wife. I am very happy to become a family with everyone. Except for my son and daughter who echoed and welcomed her. Everyone else remained silent. Immediately after, Ava sent a huge red envelope. I clicked it casually and got 999 yuan. This number is hard to comment. Then the group became lively. When Ava saw me grabbing the red envelope, she also me, come back and have a wedding drink when you have time. Younger sister Luna. I have every reason to suspect that she deliberately made a typo. Wedding drinks are out of the question. I'm afraid I'll lose years of my life if I attend a meal with the third party and the scumbag. After sending this message, I threw a pile of poop. Then I directly quit the group. 10 My son sent me a message using my grandson's phone watch. Mom, did you see? You can't compete with Intavra. If you buy me a car when you come back from your trip, I will forgive you. I read the message several times to make sure I wasn't seeing things. But what the hell is this jerk talking about? What does he mean by forgiving me? Screw him. I replied, don't worry. You can't beat her either. Your old mom is waiting for the day you cry. With money, leisure, excellent health, and a good appetite. I visited all the places I hadn't been to. I stayed in star-rated hotels and took business class on planes and high-speed trains. The main idea is not to be afraid of spending money and enjoy life to the fullest. During my travels, I also learned shooting and editing from some young people who make short videos. I tried to post a few videos with the title A 60-year-old divorced aunt lives like a queen. The traffic is actually quite good. In just 3 months, I have accumulated more than 60,000 fans. Many agencies contacted me and wanted to sign a contract with me and said they would package me. I waved my hand and refused. This is just a hobby. In this way, while traveling and making videos. And by the way, I can also receive advertisements. After careful calculation, I seem to have more and more money. I suddenly received a call from elder sister Scarlett half a year later. There is only one advantage of my hometown. Bad news spreads quickly. As soon as there is a little incident in someone's family, it will immediately become known to everyone. Luna, do you know? Oliver is probably going to regret it to death now. He married a spendthrift woman. Huh? What's going on? I took a sip of milk tea. That Ava. It is said that she owed a lot of money before getting married. A few days after getting married, your old man was surrounded by people demanding repayment. Elder sister Scarlett told the story vividly. I coughed unhappily. She reacted immediately. It's not your old man. It's that bastard Oliver. The matter should be true. Scarlett can't speak so vividly about something that comes out of nowhere. 11 I haven't been in contact with my son and daughter for a long time. Of course, this includes Oliver as well. All their phone numbers are blacklisted. But I forgot that private messages can still be sent through the back end of the video account. My daughter left a message asking me to call her back, saying that something big had happened to her. Thinking of her viciousness towards me in my previous life and her meanness in this life. I don't want to deal with her. But out of humanitarianness, I still called her back. As soon as she connected, she screamed at me in a shrill voice, "Mom, why did you call so late? This family is completely in chaos. Come back quickly." "How is it in chaos? Explain in detail." I perked up, then took the phone, poured a glass of water, took a plate of melon seeds, and sat on the massage chair. That old Hageva is not only deeply in debt. Oh, and her daughter is also having an affair with my brother. Oh my God. Don't tell me. This is more interesting than those long-winded TV dramas. What about your dad? Doesn't your dad take care of it? Isn't he very capable? Mom, don't be sarcastic. You know that my dad can only write books. What else can he do? That woman Ava has only been here for a few months and has spent more than 10 million of my dad's money. My daughter sighed long and hard. Even through the screen, I could feel her pain and collapse. Oh, with that money, how many things could be bought for you and your brother? Your dad is really too partial. I tried hard to hold back the corners of my mouth so that my voice didn't sound to Schadenfreude. Mom, only you can suppress my wild dad. When will you come back? Hurry up and drive that woman away. Good daughter. Wait for me. I'll buy a plane ticket right away. After hanging up the phone, I looked at myself in the mirror and couldn't stop smiling. I had a rather smug look. Not bad. Not bad. Karma comes around. Of course I'm going back. It would be a pity to miss such a good show. I'm idle anyway. Life is all about constantly challenging one's own limits of acceptance and perception. 12 After getting off the plane and rushing to my son's house. As soon as I opened the door, I was greatly shocked. His eye sockets were dark, and his face was scratched all over with bloodstains. He was unshaven and looked completely decadent. My daughter-in-law poked her head out from behind my son. When she saw it was me, she immediately cried and threw herself into my arms. Mom, you're finally back. This family is now falling apart. After listening for a long time, I finally understood the whole story. My bastard son supported his father's remarriage, so much at the beginning because he had known Ava's daughter for a long time. Ava didn't get married in the first half of her life but gave birth to a son and a daughter. After Oliver and Dava got married, this woman was indeed very reasonable at first. She took the initiative to do all the housework and pick up and drop off the grandson to and from school. But after a few days, either she hurt her hand while cutting vegetables, or she got oil splashed on her face while cooking. Later on, she strained her waist while hanging out clothes and sprained her ankle while taking out the trash. When picking up and dropping off the child, she went to the wrong school. The child was late for school every few days. Even more ridiculously, when she cooked for the child, she actually made the child have gastroenteritis and be hospitalized. In this situation, my daughter-in-law really didn't dare to leave the child in her hands. At this time, Ava's daughter showed up. She said that she was preparing for the postgraduate entrance examination and had free time. She could be trusted to pick up and drop off the child. My daughter-in-law was at a critical moment for promotion. Helplessly, she could only agree. She couldn't keep asking for leave every few days because of the child at this time. Unexpectedly, this move completely brought the wolf into the bed. At the moment of catching the adultery in bed, my bastard son didn't even have a trace of remorse, and directly wanted a divorce. This really infuriated my daughter-in-law. She immediately locked the bedroom door. Then she called relatives and friends one by one and invited them to come to the house to witness the large-scale adultery scene. Ava not only didn't think her daughter was wrong, but even told her daughter-in-law, a marriage without love is a disaster. She advised her daughter-in-law to divorce, and let a pair of lovers be together. This kind of values is really amazing. My daughter-in-law's brother was a famous hoodlum in his youth. He immediately brought people and beat up my bastard son. My son couldn't get out of bed for half a month after being hospitalized. During this period, things got even more exciting. Oliver was pushed and fell on his buttocks. Then his coccyx was fractured. While recuperating in the hospital, my son witnessed Tava being very close with another old man. After investigation, it was found that she had had a relationship with that old man for more than 20 years. But that old man has a family and just toys with her. When my bastard son finally woke up, the more than 1 million in savings he had on hand had already been spent all on Ava's daughter. Only then did I know that being a mistress can be inherited. 13 Oliver knew that I was back. Without even putting on his shoes properly, he came to his son's house. After entering the door, he was wearing 2 different slippers and stood at the door looking at me fixedly, full of grievance, sadness, longing, and regret. Looking at him, I was somewhat frightened. He looked exactly like someone who had been drained of his essence. His cheeks were sunken, and he was extremely thin. I told you. Old people who indulge in lust will die soon. Look at you. TSK. Luna. I know I was wrong. I'm sorry. Looking at him crying, I really wanted to laugh. Not every I'm sorry can be exchanged for that. It's okay. In our marriage, since the day we got married, he has been straying. He said that he has wasted his love. But what about me? I have wasted my whole youth. If he had said he didn't love me earlier, I definitely wouldn't have stayed by his side. Why pretend to be a gentle and refined good husband on the one hand and have an emotional affair and cherish his love on the other hand? I am not a very cheap person. Slap. I slapped him hard across the face. I'm sorry. Does it hurt? Oliver covered his face in disbelief. Then he looked injured and said, if this can make you less angry, then slap me a few more times. I washed my hands carefully several times in disgust. She can't cook either. The food made by the nanny she found doesn't suit my taste. Buying food outside makes my blood sugar and blood pressure abnormal. I often miss the noodles with fried sauce and dumplings you made. Even plain porridge and pickles make my mouth water when I think of them in the middle of the night. I forced a sneer. I really think this man is not a good thing. How could I have been so blind before and think he was good everywhere? Moan. Come back when you've had enough trouble. My dad and I have already realized our mistakes. That's enough for you. My son put down his water glass heavily, kicked hard by his daughter-in-law. If you talk to mom like this again, go die quickly for me. Even if you to die, I will never look back. Big bastard and little bastard. Are you some rare treasure? I got up and picked up my bag to leave. Today's show was quite enjoyable. 14 After waking up from a sleep, my daughter came crying to the hotel, seeing the tens of thousands of you on bottle of skincare products on my table. Her face was distorted with jealousy. Mom, only you can save me now. My money was cheated by Ava's son for investment and I lost everything. What? I was really shocked. Then go find him. What's the use of coming to me? I'm really frustrated. My daughter didn't say a word and kept crying, looking at her guilty expression. I think there is more to this matter. As her mother, I know her nature too well. But before I even finished my breakfast, I saw Oliver and Deva on the hot search. The reason is that my son wants to drive Ava and her daughter out of the house and wants Oliver to divorce her. When the commotion broke out in the community, it was posted online by onlookers. Many book fans immediately recognized that timid man as a famous writer. Isn't this teacher Oliver? I went to his autograph session last year. He was so high-spirited. How did he become like this now? I almost didn't recognize him. This son is really not a good thing. His own dad divorces his own mom. It's really rare to see. Among the many comments accusing the son of being a bad thing, a comment saying that the old lady in the video is not the original wife is gradually gaining popularity. Finally, it even became a hot search term. I found a massage parlor and while enjoying a soothing spa, I ate melons with my mobile phone. Soon, the photos of their wedding and wedding photos were dug up by netizens. I know this. When they took this wedding photo, Oliver had just divorced his original wife of 40 years less than 7 days. So it's the mistress. The mistress is not only Oliver's mistress. For more inside stories, go to my homepage. When a wall falls, everyone pushes. Probably it's like this. This can only be blamed on their being too ostentatious at that time. They wished that people all over the world knew that this pair of scumbag and mistress got married. I still steadily update short videos on social platforms. But netizens are too powerful. In less than half a day, they dug out my account. The comment area is completely occupied. Countless netizens poured in to comfort me. Come on, Auntie. Such a good auntie. Let the scumbag regret it. Auntie must have been wronged all her life. Now leaving the jerk is like getting a new life. Just when I thought the matter would stop here, unexpectedly, Ava started a live broadcast. In the video, Ava bit her teeth and tried hard not to let tears flow out. But tears couldn't be controlled and dropped. Netizens couldn't help but feel distressed. Even teased. I can't resist the lethality of the white moonlight. Let alone a 65-year-old man. Ava's voice is gentle and dignified. I am not the mistress in everyone's mouth. Nor am I an old vixen. Mr. Oliver and I met again after a long separation. I met him only after he got divorced. His original wife can read and often beats and scolds Mr. Oliver. He is such an outstanding person. He endured this marriage for decades. Everyone wants to live freely in the last stage of life. When they got divorced, Mr. Oliver left the house completely to compensate her. Moreover, he was beaten by her and sent to the hospital. For a while, a large number of malicious comments poured into my commentaria and private messages. I heard you are very good at domestic violence. Old woman, you are a disgrace to us. You are not satisfied with such a good husband. Well, now you can live alone. Looking at these unfounded slurs, I smiled faintly. If she wants to court death, what can I do? 15 but out of humanitarianism. When I was about to play my trump card, I still made a symbolic phone call to Oliver. He stammered for a long time. Luna. Forget it. Don't make trouble anymore. I really can't take it anymore. Oliver. I call you a big bastard. It's really not wronging you at all. Wait and see. I will expose you two old demons. After hanging up the phone, with good evidence, accompanied by a lawyer, I opened a live broadcast. Looking at the number of people in the live broadcast room rising to more than 20. 0. I posted one by one the evidence of Oliver's extramarital affair. He got in touch with Ava in the second year when his book became popular. At that time, we had been married for 11 years. Although Ava took the initiative first, he already had infinite regrets about his youthful love. Oliver's diary can almost be said to be his adultery guidebook for 30 years. The most astonishing thing is that the last time he was hospitalized before our divorce, I thought it was because he had been writing for too long, and was too tired. In fact, he met Ava and told me there was an activity of the Writers Association. In the hotel surveillance video, the two didn't go out for a week. They had takeout for all their meals. He is 65. He really is playing with his life. No wonder he fainted. Netizens are all shocked. The amount of information is too large. I also cry. I don't want to do this either. I was forced. Finally, the lawyer came out to popularize knowledge. As Oliver is the party at fault for cheating, I can completely make him leave the house with nothing. But kind-hearted as I am, I still left him a huge fortune. It's just helpless. The third one is disappointing. She has lost almost everything. The explosive love and hate of the elderly, the topic, has been floating on the hot search for several days. 16. I saw my daughter again in prison. She stabbed Ava's son. That man threatened her with her photos, drained her of her money, and beat her brutally, making her ask me and Oliver for money. In the end, she couldn't bear the beatings anymore and stabbed the person directly. My daughter apologized to me in tears, saying that she shouldn't have supported her father, and Ava being together at the beginning. She let the wolf in. She could have had infinite possibilities in life. But I didn't feel a ripple in my heart. In my previous life, she didn't come to see me even once until I died. My daughter-in-law also divorced my bastard son. Ava's daughter rushed to the company and made a scene. Not only did my son lose his job, but his reputation in the industry was also ruined. The court ordered all the houses and cars under his name to my daughter-in-law. He went to find Oliver full of hope, hoping that his father, whom he had fully supported, could give him some financial help. Unexpectedly, he was told by a neighbor that Oliver had been hospitalized for many days. Ava took this opportunity to take away all of Oliver's meager money. She also mortgaged all the houses and took away all the money. When my son rushed to the hospital, he found that Oliver's creditors were blocking the door. Oliver was so angry that he fell into a coma. When they saw my son coming, they had nowhere to vent their anger and directly beat him up in public. I didn't want to see Oliver again at first. But my son said on the phone that he was about to die. After much thought, I still went. In the hospital ward, my son looked like he had aged more than 10 years. He was haggard and his face was full of bad luck. Oliver was lying on the bed, so thin that only a handful of bones were left. When he saw me coming, his eyes bright and a bit. "Luna, if there is a next life, would you still be willing to be my wife?" "No. I'm not a fool." I wanted to laugh in exasperation. "You look really good in this red dress." "Yes. I only put on such a beautiful dress now." "What did you say before?" "You said I wasn't suitable for it, that I was dark, and that I had no temperament." A sudden sadness arose. In the past, I took every word and action of his as an imperial decree. "I'm sorry. I didn't expect things to turn out like this. Ava, I misjudged her. She was also cornered by creditors. That's why she divorced you. Otherwise, you two have been sneaking around for decades. Why didn't she think of marrying you?" Looking at Oliver's increasingly gloomy eyes, I suddenly understood the meaning of the phrase "kill a person by attacking their heart." Before leaving, my son stopped me and knelt down in front of me and cowed out several times heavily. He cried mournfully and kept saying sorry. He even slapped himself hard. I left him 100 yuan. "Buy something delicious. Mom can only help you this much." After walking a long way, I looked back and saw that he was still standing at the door of the ward looking at me, dazed. Not knowing what he was thinking. 17 I embarked on a journey again. In mid-August, during the Mid-Autumn Festival, I heard that Xinjiang is the time when fruits are the sweetest. I have to go and taste them. When I updated the third video of my trip to Xinjiang, on the social news list, Ava was taken away by the police. But not only has all the money she took away been lost, but she also owes a lot more. In fact, before this, Ava called me once. She said, "You must be very proud, seeing me lose completely. But so what? The 30 years of your marriage were still stolen by me." Yes. I am very proud. Even if his heart wasn't with me before, his money has always been with me. I don't have to wander around among various men for money, nor do I have to hide everywhere. I said these words with a very calm heart. But Ava no longer had her dignified face. She hysterically cursed me at the other end of the phone. I directly cut off the call. Now looking at the news about her on my phone, I clicked to block it. At the same time, a news of the death of famous writer Oliver also caused a sensation. His romantic affairs during his lifetime were brought up again. I just smiled and passed by. There was a large wave of traffic on my social media account again, and I gained countless followers. There were too many advertisements to handle. I am 60. But I am only 60. Starting anew. Everything is just right.